things that land like a slap or give a look that makes you want to walk out of your own home and never come back. They're not being bad kids. They're learning what power feels like. Sometimes they fumble it. That's adolescence, a testing ground for emotion, control, and self-definition. And they will get it wrong many, many times. The danger for parents is swinging to extremes, either cracking down, "You will not look at me like that," or rationalizing it away. They're overwhelmed, I let it go. Both responses miss the middle, where we recognize the physiology without erasing the impact. You can understand why dysregulation happened and still address the impact of the behavior. We'll focus today on 3 keys to fostering respect with your teen. So when a teen's tone sharpens or their body language screams contempt, the amygdala is running the show. That's fight or flight, not strategy. But if they learn that being in this state gives them control of the room, it will become a pattern of behavior, not just biology. So our goal as parents isn't to excuse it, it's to respond without feeding it. That starts with a pause, a real one. Not the performative, pretend your face has Botox kind, the kind where you notice the tension in your jaw, unclench it, and remind yourself, I don't have to match this energy. You might say to your teen, I'm frustrated right now, and I need a minute before this turns into a huge fight. Or, you're glaring at me right now, and this isn't productive. Let's both take a step back. That's not surrender. That's control used wisely. You're choosing timing over reactivity. Then, when both systems have cooled, you can circle back. So that moment earlier, I understand you were angry, but we can do hard emotions without tearing each other apart. So that's the balance. Seeing the dysregulation, naming the impact, holding the boundary. Teens are learning to drive the machinery of adulthood, power, determination, agency, and they will grind the gears. Your steadiness teaches them where the limits are. So yeah, sometimes they act like jackasses. Your job isn't to take it personally or to ignore it. It's to teach recovery without wrecking the relationship. So key number 1, disrespect often starts as dysregulation. It only becomes character through repetition, but if you interrupt it steadily and you stop it from hardening into who they think they have to be. If you're finding any of this information eye-opening, please hit like and subscribe and share with other parents who could use this information. I really appreciate it. So key number 2, once you start seeing disrespect for what it is, dysregulation with impact, the next challenge is how you carry yourself when it happens, because understanding it doesn't really make it any less aggravating. When our teen throws a glare, rolls their eyes, or mutters something under their breath, it's amazing how fast our body reacts. Our jaw sets, our pulse jumps. We can almost feel ourselves gearing up for battle. And that's the fork in the road. In that exact second, you decide whether you're going to hold the line or join in on the chaos. This is where a lot of good parents lose ground. They think that if they don't correct the disrespect right away, they're letting it slide. But if you correct it while you're agitated, what you're actually teaching is reactivity, not respect. The real leverage is in your stance. And I don't mean your physical pose, but in the steadiness of your tone and timing. You can't teach respect by demanding it louder. You teach it by showing what it looks like under pressure. And here's the key difference most people miss. Calm is what you might appear to be. Steadiness is what your behavior constantly, consistently reflects. Calm can be fake. It can be a tight smile while your blood's boiling. Steadiness is that even, grounded tone that says, yeah, I'm really frustrated, but I'm still the adult here. It's not about pretending you're fine. It's about not handing your teen or your emotions the steering wheel. So let me put this in real terms. Your teen fires, "You're so annoying and stupid. Just leave me alone, you idiot." If you shoot back, "Watch your tone," you've entered a contest of tone. If you try instead, you can ask for space, and if you're annoyed, you don't get to take it out on me. That line works because it's short, honest, and steady. No lecture, no over-explaining, just boundary. And that steadiness doesn't just stop escalation, it teaches. It shows what self-control looks like in real time. Because here's the thing, teenagers are studying us constantly, and maybe not consciously, but they're always scanning. What happens when people push back on you? Do you crumble? Do you explode? Do you stay clear? Your steadiness becomes the answer to that question. So instead of aiming to stay calm, aim to stay clear. Clear about, one, what's acceptable, clear about what you won't engage in, and number three, clear that you don't need to win the argument to keep your authority. When you stay clear, the conversation may still get messy, but it doesn't get destructive. That's the difference between control and presence. So that brings us to key number 2. Respect starts with how you stand, not how they speak. Because every time you hold that line without matching their volatility, you're teaching them what respect sounds like in practice, not what it looks like in theory. But let's face it, even if you get everything right, the timing, the tone, the boundary, there are still going to be moments that blow up. You'll lose your temper, they'll slam a door, someone will say something that crosses a line. That's real life. The point isn't perfection, it's recovery. Because what separates strong parent-teen relationships from fractured ones isn't how few fights they have, it's how they're able to come back from them. This is where a lot of parents stumble. They confuse repair with surrender. They think if they circle back after a blow-up, they're letting their teen off the hook. But repair isn't weakness, it's leadership. It's saying, I'm still the adult in the room and I'm responsible for how I show up, even when you're out of line. That doesn't mean you apologize for holding a boundary. It just means you reestablish connection so that the boundary still means something in the context of your relationship. Here's what it would sound like. After a heated argument, instead of pretending like nothing happened or launching into another lecture, you take a breath and say, that conversation got ugly. I don't like how we spoke to each other. I mean, I still stand by the boundary, but I really wish I'd handled it differently. That's repair. Simple, direct, adult. You're not asking for forgiveness. You're modeling accountability. And here's what's powerful about that. When you repair, you reset the emotional climate. You take the temperature in the house from defensive to workable. You make space for your teen to calm down and eventually take their own accountability on their own timeline. Repair teaches your teen 2 things. That 1, relationships can handle conflict, and that 2, control is not the same thing as respect. Because, let's be honest, control is brittle. It relies on fear and compliance. Respect, on the other hand, is earned through consistency and fairness. Repair is where consistency shows up. It says, even when you mess up or I mess up, I'm still going to show up with clarity and decency. That message lands over time, even when your teen doesn't show it. And if you ever doubt that, think about your own adolescence. You probably don't remember every rule your parents set, but you remember the moments when they handled something unfairly, or when they surprised you by handling it well. Those moments shaped how you learned to navigate conflict. And that's what repair does. It plants a memory of, my parent didn't always get it right, but they came back. And that's what makes your authority believable. Not perfect control, but predictable integrity. Now, here's the part that can sting. You might have to initiate repair more often than they do. And that's not unfair, that's adulthood. You go first, not because you were more wrong, but because you're more responsible. Repair doesn't mean you lower the bar. You can follow up with, we still need to address how you handled that once things settle, but you lead with relationship and connection before you lead with correction. Because the relationship is the context that gives correction its meaning. When you skip repair, your teen learns to protect themselves more, not to reflect on themselves. When you repair, you teach them that strength and humility can live in the same sentence. That's the difference between raising a compliant kid and raising an emotionally capable one. So yes, repair is uncomfortable. It requires you to stand down from the need to be right and step into the role of being steady. But every time you do it, you're reinforcing the kind of respect that actually lasts. And that's key number 3. Repair builds more respect than control ever will, because it teaches your teen that relationships don't fall apart when people mess up. They rebuild when people take responsibility. So let's pull this all together. We started with key 1. Disrespect is often dysregulation. That's about seeing what's happening underneath the behavior, not to excuse it, but to interrupt the reflex, to fight fire with fire. Then key 2, respect starts with how you stand, not how they speak, because your steadiness is the part they learn from. It is the key ingredient. You can't demand respect into existence. You model it under pressure. And finally, key number 3, repair builds more respect than control ever will, because every family blows up sometimes. What matters is that you come back in a way that restores both clarity and connection. When you hold these 3 things together, you stop reacting to disrespect like it's verdict and start treating it like a signal, because that's what it is. Every disrespectful moment is your teen saying, I'm overwhelmed, I'm lost, I'm testing whether this relationship still holds when I'm at my worst. And when you meet that with steadiness instead of threat, accountability instead of control, and repair instead of distance, you teach your teen something far more powerful than obedience. You teach them that what it looks like to stay in relationship when things get hard. And that's the lesson that carries into adulthood. And here's the paradox. The less you try to force respect, the more influence and respect you actually gain, because your teen learns that your authority isn't fragile. It doesn't break when they push or when they glare, and that kind of authority, calm, firm, self-respecting, becomes the model they carry into every relationship after this one. So the next time your teen rolls their eyes or fires back with something sharp, don't make it a referendum on your parenting. See it for what it is, a moment of dysregulation with real impact and an invitation to respond with clarity instead of chaos. And if you're listening to this thinking, that all sounds great, but I can't seem to hold it together when it happens, you're not alone. This is the hardest work in parenting, staying steady when everything in you wants to react. It's also where the biggest transformation can happen. If you want help figuring out how to apply these ideas to your specific situation, the real stuff that's happening in your house, schedule a free 30-minute consult. Links in the description. We'll look at what's happening in your dynamic, where things tend to go off the rails, and how you can start shifting the pattern without losing connection or influence. If this was helpful, please like and share, and we'll see you next week.